Okay, here we go again. I get off and running, and I'm doing 90 videos in 90 days, but I'll tell you, it's probably 150 in 90 days because a lot of times I'll switch on and I'll forget to switch video, and I'm on camera, and here I'm staring at a picture of myself for 15 minutes talking away, rambling on. Boy, you know what? I gotta laugh, but no use getting frustrated and angry. I really don't have that time for that in my life anymore. I just blow it off, get over it, get on. But isn't that a beautiful sky behind me today? I'm trying to change it up a little bit for you guys. It's not so much in the car, and I can't promise it's always gonna find a nice spot. But you know what? I'm gonna try a little harder. This is all experimental for me, and trying to reach out to everyone and bring awareness and hope and joy and learning how to really love life. And for so many years I was tormented with anger and frustration and spitefulness and just all kinds of bullshit stuff. I'm telling you, it was a terrible life to live, and living in that anger, it was just terrible. Like I said in the last video, it must have did an awful whatever, awful or bad, or it was destructive in my whole body, my whole makeup, and my whole way of how I was feeling and how I felt, and my ambitions, my drives, my desires, my love. It affects everything in your life, and it's so important to look on the bright side of things and just love every moment. Every second of the day is just a joy, and you really have to cherish life and love life for what it is, and not what maybe you want it to be. Anyway, today I'm talking about rock bottom. Means I just talked for 10 minutes and didn't have video on. I'm kind of out of breath. I had to get myself a new little selfie stick here. See, I'm hands-free. La-da-da. You guys might be saying, that guy's crazy. And my kids say it all the time. Well, they're more apt to say, Dad, don't embarrass us. Because I just talk what I want to talk and carry on. Okay, rock bottom. In my book there, as you guys know, Life in the Game, or my first book is Life in the Game of Addiction. This was The Road to Recovery, Addictions 101. I'm really proud of how far I've came and how hard I worked. And, the blessings are really starting to show in my life now today. For, everybody wants a quick fix, and for so many years I lived on that quick fix of the relief that the booze had. And that just left me in a cycle of being down, getting the booze, being up, leveling up. You can never be level. Like, finding balance in your life is what you want to find. And for people even that smoke marijuana, for the young kids that are experimenting out there, sure, at times when you first start smoking marijuana, you're gonna go up and have a little joy, a little love, and see things more fluffy, and all that good stuff. You're a little more creative, baby. But you can get those feelings with jogging, running, eating the proper nutrition, and but what happens? Okay, there's a balance line, and that balance line is your normal life. For most people, it's a balanced life. For some that have chemical imbalances, they're a little bit below the level and they're feeling down, or they get a little bit even lower and they get depressed or anxiety, and they float up and down up to that level line. That's where you want to hit. So anyway, with marijuana, you're here, you're floating along, you smoke a little weed, you're up, you're having fun, you're enjoying yourself, you're having a good time, you're floating along, you're seeing the flowers are pretty, and your girlfriend looks extra little pretty there today and stuff. The clouds are a little more fluffier. But then when you come down off the marijuana, you slide just below the level line. That's below the normal. And then you'll slide back up to being level again over a couple days. But I'm out in the park, there's dogs everywhere. I hope I didn't sit in every poo-poos. But anyway, you come back to that level line. But with persistent smoking, and the negative consequences come with anything that you overdo and abuse. Is, okay, you smoke that marijuana, you're up and you're high and you're fluffy and you're having a good time. Then you drop down below the lower level balance line, and then you come up a little bit, but you're still not up to that balance line because you've been using all the time, and you come to abuse marijuana. So you're going to be below the balance line, and sometimes that'll take 3 or 4 months to become up balanced again. So you got to smoke a marijuana again to come up, but then you don't go as high as you did before those first few times in that wavy little above above the balance line. You know, you're just above the balance line, because remember, after abusing it for a while, you're below the balance line. So you're feeling a little bit under the weather. Why aren't you feeling good? You know, you don't even want to go play soccer or frisbee or fishing or anything, because you're a little bit below that balance line. So the fishing and all that, or the extra, you know, the activities that you might do, might just bring you up to balance, maybe a little above, but it doesn't reach you back up to that fluffy spot where you want to go. So what happens is you become addicted, and without the marijuana, you become lower than the balance line. The balance line is here. You become lower than the balance line without the marijuana. Like I said, it take 2 or 3 months before you come back up to the balance line, and then you start exercising, nutrition, and that's when you can fluff up and down above the balance line. So that's how the abuse of any substance, alcohol, drugs, marijuana, anything that you have. Sure, it's okay if you can learn to live in balance and sociable drinking or sociable marijuana. You know, I don't feel there's a harm in that. Really, I don't. As long as you don't become abused and be having those negative consequences. And the negative consequences might not be just the actions of your habit in your everyday life and around you. You still might be being a productive, working, you know, and you might be holding on to those facts and saying, well, I still work, I don't have an issue, I might not be as bad as that guy, I'm not shooting up drugs or cocaine, but you're always going to be stuck to the abuse of that. You'll never be out of balance unless you have some substantial clean time again away from it. So very important to keep a balanced life. And for a lot of people, what happens is when they don't have the drugs or the alcohol, they're stuck down below that level line. They're stuck down here trying to find balance, trying to find that happy place again, you know, and that's their rock bottom, is down here. Some people don't have to go too far, just a little bit below that balance line, but some have to go way down here where I did, you know, living on the streets for 3 or 4 months and drinking sherry every day, getting up just shaking. It was a terrible life, I'm telling you. You know, I can and I do reflect on all the good times, but it's hard. You know, I can truly tell you, you know, being addicted or having an issue with substance abuse and anything that it is, it could be eating, it could be drugs or alcohol, it could be gambling and anything. You know, without that substance, you almost feel that life is insurmountable. You just don't have the get up and go and the drive and the desire to do anything, you know, without that substance to help you bring about at least balance, you know. So beware, young fellas. Beware, you know, you're going to start experimenting with something, and I'll tell you what happens is you're going to experiment with something, and now with the fentanyl and everything, that could possibly kill you. One shot, one time, experimental, you could be dead. Your system has a sensitivity, like a lot of the young people now, to these different drugs, and your system will just shut down. You'll stop breathing, you'll lay there with your eyes open, you stop breathing. Your mind might still be going, but wouldn't that be a terrible death to go through, to be stuck and paralyzed, and your eyes open, you're moving, you can still know what's going on, but you can't breathe. And then you just slowly fade out and you're gone, you know? And it's so sad for all the loved ones you leave behind, and wondering how could they have done that, you know? Please be careful in your experimental and really learn to love life and all the stuff that's here for what it is, you know? Look on the positive side. Anyway, back to rock bottom. Rock bottom is way down here for a lot of us. Some of them are just below the line. Okay, let me put my glasses on. I know, one of those days. Okay, rock bottom in my book, and don't forget to get my other book, Life in the Game of Addictions, on Lulu. Okay, rock bottom. For many who suffer substance abuse, rock bottom means all their options have been depleted. Bridges have been burnt. It's a time of peace, a peace of mind. When you're not chasing after the drugs and alcohol or whatever it is, you get a peace of mind, you stop. Okay, when drugs are an issue, the options and the torment of the mind over those options and how to get your choice drug becomes an endless bombardment of ways and means to get what you want. That means when you're below that line and you're not feeling normal, your brain's going, I need it, I want it, I gotta have it, I gotta get up to be in balance, you know. And it's hard. The brain will just, because it's like you're old, it's like in the old days, you know, forget the name of the people there when they first come on Earth and all this, but before, you know, it's your natural strive to survive. So your brain's going to come up with all these ideas and what you need, what you got to have, what you think you need. And when it's drugs and alcohol, it's just a false sense of security and need that you want. And it's not a need, it's a want. You don't need it. Okay, for many, clear intent of wrongdoing is masked by and believed as good intention, like telling someone what they need to hear to get what you want, with the belief that you will follow through with what you committed to. The thing is, once the fog clears, even the addict says to himself, "What was I thinking?" This brings them to rock bottom, when they realize all the commitments, all the self-talk of good intentions are really a cover-up for wrongdoing and doing drugs and alcohol or whatever it might be. This puts an end to those options that were available at one point. It gives a sort of peace and comfort that we no longer have that avenue to explore, and it has come to an end, or rock bottom. This is also a warning sign for those who enable others. I know it's hard when you want to believe those good intentions, but in the end, you are only really enabling that person to use. And as long as that avenue, is available, then they won't hit that rock bottom. I also know it's hard for the person that has never experienced full-blown addictions or substance abuse to see how people could lower themselves to see such a level as to hit rock bottom. We as addicts are very resourceful. We can lie, cheat, steal, scam, tell people what they need to hear in order to get what we want. We are also the ones you want you want on your team once we become clean and sober. For most, it's a slow and progressive road to destruction, and it resembles a disease. Having said that, certain programs have adopted this belief in that we are allergic to our substance of abuse. This gives the addict something to believe in, that it is a disease and they can no longer use it. In the same way, it's a closure, a rock bottom, that they have no option but to quit. For me, it was never that easy. I needed the answers. I needed something more to believe in. Helping addicts see their way clearly. Knowing is half the battle. You know, and that's what I'm trying to do, is help others and, you know, really start to get at the young ones, the teenagers, the adolescents. And the sooner we can teach people the full realm of, you know, the full extent, like on my book, Life in the Game of Addictions, and it's, you know, if someone is troubled, I drop lots off of the jail and the institutions and community health centers, and, you know, for those it helps. For those that have had substance abuse and addiction problems, it helps them see that there is another life to live. Oh, my foot's falling asleep. Oh, that's kind of tingly. Anyway, you know, it helps them see that you can break through, and it's never too late. I'm going to be 55 this year, and look at me, I love life today. You know, it's just a beautiful, how many more years I got? 30, 25, 30, 40 years maybe? I just got a little farmhouse in the country. I'm going to start my little Hope Farm, and you know, I'm just so blessed today. And for others, that my book, Life in the Game of Addictions, tells a story that, you know, that might be an example to some teens or some people you might know that if you continue the road that you're on, this is what's going to happen to you. You know, this is what you're going to have. This is the result of your overuse or abuse of any substance of addiction. Anyway, I'm out of breath. This is the second round for me and trying to do this video, and I see it's still clicking at the top, so I'm good. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me.